right, hey guys, we're here at Matt's farm. This is Matt Peart. He was an ATI graduate and employee, and he owns an organic farm, and he's here to tell us all about it. So why don't you give yourself a little bit of background, give them a little bit of background of how you got into organic farming.
Okay. As Laura said, I'm Matt Peart. I started farming organically in 1989. I've been certified since 1989. And let's talk about what being certified means. That means I don't use any chemical fertilizers, pesticides, or herbicides. So you ask, well, how do you keep your row crops clean? Well, I cultivate. And when I first started into the organic agricultural business, it was primarily soybeans and corn, and very, very little other than that. I've since changed. I produce a lot of hay for the organic market, and so corn and soybeans, hay, small grain, rotation, and that's how I handle that's how I handle pests, by not growing the same crop in the field year after year. With that rotation, the bugs that will affect alfalfa won't affect corn, and vice versa. So I've been able to take care of pests that way. Cultivation, I try to do limited cultivation. I can't be no-till, but I can be minimum till without any problem.
You once told a story, speaking of tillage, about you went to a conference. That's
yeah.
a good story, so you should tell that one.
So I'm involved in the soil and water conservation. I'm the vice president of the Ohio Federation of Soil and Water Districts. I also represent Ohio on the national level. And a few years ago, I was at a conference, and this guy from Indiana came up, and he said, "You're an organic farmer." And I said, "Yeah." He said, "You're one of the bad guys." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, you till. You're just tearing up the soil and doing all that." And I said, "Well, Ray McCormick is the guy's name, and look him up. He's an interesting character." I said, "Ray, I don't know if I could do that." And he said, "Well, I think you ought to try." So that year I planted rye in the fall, cereal rye, and then in the spring I rolled it down, flattened it right before we planted. And so my soybeans every year since then have been no-till. So I roll the rye down, plant into this huge mat of rye, and hard to believe, but you have to set the planter at about 4 inches deep to get the seeds in the ground an inch or an inch and a half, because there's that thick of a mat, and you'd think there's no possible way this stuff is ever going to grow, but it does. And so the next year I saw Ray, and I said, "Ray, come here, I want to show you these pictures." And he was like shocked. I was like one of the good guys then after I'd tried that. And so it's worked every year since then, maybe not as well every year as I had hoped, but it does work. So I will continue to use that. I use a lot of cover crops, with oats, tillage radishes, clover, in the fall to stabilize the soil and hold the soil. If you need to have something growing at all times, is my feeling. And open soil is no way it's going to stay in place. It's going to move, and that's what we don't want. So
you have a lot of farm fields around here. Is all the farms around here also organic?
No.
So is there a distance that you have to be away from the road or from their farms or things like that to ensure you don't get overspray?
Yeah, 30 feet of distance. I know the township trustees, so, and I know the guys that work on the road crew, and so they know not to spray. I have one farm that has some high tension lines that run through it, and, they've been good. All I've had to do is send them my organic certificate, and they won't spray underneath the high tension lines. So everybody's been respectful of that. I have wonderful neighbors that have seen what I do with small grain and clover crop, and they've started to do that too for their dairy cows. They think their cows do better on red clover, and so they're following a lot of the things that I do, although they're not organic. So it works. I'm not somebody that's going to tell you that organic agriculture is the only way. I'm just saying that it's my way, and everybody has the right and the ability to make their living however they want. So that's how I've done it. I didn't grow up on a farm. I'll tell you, Laura's heard this story more times than she can count. But as a young boy, I had a dream, and I went out to the kitchen table and I told my mom I had this dream and that I wanted to be a farmer. She said, "Matt, I don't know how you'd ever pull that off. We don't own any farmland in the U.S. Your father just died. We live in town. I don't know how you can ever do it, but if you can pull it off, that's great." So I started farming without using chemicals and doing all that, and I felt like I was getting money in my left hand and putting it in my right hand and giving it to somebody else. And so I thought I would try organic agriculture on a piece of land that we had just bought the first farm, and so that's how I started, and it's worked out. I've bought other land since then. I farm about 500 acres. I own about half of that, and it's been great. I don't know how I farmed while I was still at ATI. It seems like I've always got 10 things going right now, and I don't know how I could have ever pulled it off when I was at ATI. But it's been good. I've enjoyed it. I have a small beef cattle herd of primarily black Angus, and I've imported some red Angus cows from Alberta, and so I'm starting to build a red Angus herd, and that's just an interest of mine and something to keep me amused. So about 40 cows, cow-calf operation. Yes?
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I didn't want to interrupt that. I will hopefully get to see the moo cows later. I always want to see the moo cows, just ask him. One of the things that has always fascinated me about the story that you tell is where you used to sell your products when you first started versus where you sell them now.
Yeah. When I first started, soybeans all went to Michigan, and the corn all went to eastern Pennsylvania, into Lancaster County and into New York for egg production. And now, with the organic movement growing so much, Organic Valley is a co-op, dairy, chickens, and they're quite strong in the 3-county area: Wayne County, Holmes County, Ashland County. And so everything I grow all stays within the 3 counties, and so I deliver to farmers. I've developed some great friendships and learned a lot by seeing what other people do. So it's worked out really well for me.
What's your biggest challenge?
Well, I guess if there was a way to rid the world of giant ragweed, that would probably be my first choice. I don't have any mare's tail yet, but it's probably around the corner. And, you know, then mare's tail is gonna be a big problem. But it's weed control in row crops, corn and soybeans, would be the biggest issue. You know, last year, the biggest issue was planting so blasted late that, you know, it was really difficult. And, you know, anybody in agriculture knows how bad it was, and let's all pray that we don't run into that this year. But I think one thing that we did discover from last year was that actually planting late wasn't the end of the world. It did change some things, but it was not the doomsday thing that everyone thought it was gonna be. So, yeah.
Do you think you're gonna have any troubles? I know when we came out last fall, there were a lot of the farms fields looked like they had foxtail all over the place, and I
Right.
thought, boy, you guys let that go to seed, and we're gonna be in a world of hurt. Do you think you're gonna see any impact from that this year?
I don't think so. The hay fields, you know, we're gonna mow it early, and so, you know, we'll be able to take care of that. Foxtail isn't that big of a problem, you know, until later in the year. So we'll hopefully take care of the foxtail before it's a problem. What I do with my hay crops, of course, beef cattle can tolerate maybe some lesser quality hay than the dairy cows. So I'll sell my good quality hay and keep my lesser quality hay for my cows. And I'm a machinery nut. I should go in and talk about that a little bit. You know, I don't have an M or an H or a NAA or whatever it might be. I have nice equipment, you know, Kloss tractors, Krone big square baler. You know, I have good equipment, and pride myself in that. And all of that has been paid for by organic agriculture. You know, the farms, and now, you know, the land that I own now has all been paid for by hard work and organic agriculture. So that's, I wish you were here to, you could ask
Let's
some
ask
questions, you know,
exactly.
come on.
Exactly. Is there any, let's just end with this, is there any one thing that you would give them as advice as they head out into their careers? Now, this class is mostly gonna be AgCom, agri-science education, there's some natural resources folks in there, so these are our future educators and communicators.
Well, it's the same thing that I say every time, and that is follow your dream. I don't care what dream you have, but don't give it up. And, you know, if you feel strongly enough about it, you can make it happen. And that's me. I'm not the smartest knife in the drawer, but I did it with hard work and dedication, and I'm proud of that. Yeah, so don't give up your dreams.
Yeah, the shop, we're kind of standing in the farm shop here, so I'll slowly scroll around so you can see where we were sitting. That's where we were sitting right there. And, you know, that's, yeah, just gotta give them perspective. And now Matt's gonna walk my dog, and we're gonna take a look outside. I see, now they're walking away from me. Oh, one's pooping. Look, this is what I always come over here to see, the moo cows. He laughs at me, but okay, see, I'm from the city, so. Oh, look, there's a baby moo cow. There's a baby moo moo. Right there, baby moo moo. All right, so now we're gonna be walking into the barn so you can kind of see some more equipment, stuff. My blind dog, yeah, he's blind, totally blind, is having a sniff fest of a day right now, and he doesn't want to walk very fast because he wants to sniff everything. But kind of zoom around here so those of you who know equipment can see equipment. Oh, where are the babies? Oh, there they are. There they are. See the babies, guys? Look at the babies. And then all the other bigger ones. This is the black ones and the brown ones. I don't know anything. Look at their faces. Oh my God, they're so cute. Look how, like, literally I'm this close. I don't think they're happy at me.
Oh, they don't care. See, they're more concerned about all their babies being in the playpen.
Why are they concerned about their babies being in the playpen?
They can't get in there, and so they're.
Why are the babies in the playpen?
Because they don't want to be. tossed around by